So, been thinking a bit about detachment lately. I know we talk about detachment a lot. We talk about how important it is to detach from something if you want to manifest it. But I got to thinking about the meaning of the word and about how people interpret the word. And it occurred to me, folks may not understand what it means to be detached. Detachment does not mean you don't give a fuck. Detachment does not mean it has no relevance in your life. Detachment does not mean you couldn't care less. Detachment means that whether this is in your life or not, you recognize that you, who and what you are, is unchanged by that presence. The core of you stays the same, whether the desired item, person, whatever is there or not. You hear people talk about how if they won the lottery, they wouldn't change as people, but their mistakes would become magnificently epic. That is where detachment comes in. Do you have the detachment to remain yourself, remain the same person you are now, if you suddenly had your dream dropped in your lap? When you are at the point where you are so secure in yourself that you will remain yourself, regardless of what may or may not come along, that is a form of detachment. It's very hard to reach that point. So what makes it so hard? We attach meaning to anything and everything in our life. It's part of being human. It is part of what we do and who we are. We tell ourselves stories. We are creatures of storytelling, which is one of the things that makes us different from most other animals on this planet. Notice I said most, not all. There are exceptions. But we tell stories. We create meaning with the words that we use, and we attach that meaning to various things. Now, what does this have to do with detachment? And even more importantly, what does this have to do with manifestation? So I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was saying that no matter how many times she says she forgives an abusive person in her life, things just do not change. Not because this person is still in her life, she's got more sense than that, but because it does not change anything within her. I can relate to this. I had an abusive parent, I had abusive partners. There's been a lot that I needed to learn to forgive. And one of the problems that I had in extending that forgiveness, particularly to my abusive parent, is that I was seeing the meaning of that abuse as being what had created me to be the person that I am. I was assigning the abuse that I had received as a child with the meaning of it created my core identity, my personality. It made me, me. And as long as I held on to that meaning, that who I am was the product of this abuse, I could not forgive the abuse or the abuser, because if I did, I would cease to be me. If I let go of what that abuse had created, then a portion of my personality would also be gone. My meaning that I attached to the abuse was preventing me from forgiving it and from moving on. It was preventing me from growing further. So the meaning that I had to come up with to attach to that story is still, yes, abuse happened. That abuse does not define who I am or the person that I have grown to be. Who I am is the person who overcame those events. Who I am is the person who developed despite those events. Who I am is me, not the product of an abusive environment. Once I had made that mental shift, it then became possible for me to not only forgive the abuse, but to forgive the abuser. Now, forgiving the abuser had no influence on this person at all, because this person never saw themselves as being an abusive person. Forgiving the abuser had an enormous amount of influence on me. Letting go of the bitterness, letting go of the resentment, letting go of the anger, letting go of the "you never should have treated me that ways," makes it possible for me to grow more. It's rather like taking a root-bound plant and putting it into a new pot. By releasing those boundaries, you create more room for the plant to grow, and it gets bigger and healthier and flourishes. If it had remained within those boundaries, within those confines, it would eventually die because it had outgrown the environment it was in. So my question to you is, what meaning are you assigning to the things that you're attached to? What meaning are you assigning to the things that you're trying to manifest into your life? You will never manifest money if you're attempting to manifest it because it will make your life better. You're putting meaning on it. You are saying, my life is not whole and complete without having this thing that I am trying to manifest. That creates resistance, that prevents manifestation. When you can say, my life is whole and complete and abundant exactly as it is, then the money has room to come to you. What are you doing to find that abundance? What are you doing to put yourself in the mental state of, I do not need this manifestation? For me, one thing that makes me feel abundant, and I know this is silly, and I know it's a psychological trick, and I don't care, is a little bit of bling, a little bit of shiny stuff, some soft furs. So what I did, I blinged out my car. My steering wheel has rhinestones on it. So does my gear reversal. And it makes me happy. My little car holder for my phone is rhinestoned out. I got car seat covers that are velvet with rhinestone studs. These are little things that in my brain translate to, I have the abundance to have bright, sparkly, shiny stuff around me. It's a psychological trick. I am playing on myself every day. But every time I get in my car, I feel like I am in a position of abundance. I feel like I am in a position of personal wealth. That alone is enough to make my money manifestations come about more easily. Within a day of me blinging out my car, I got a bonus at work because I had made the mental shift that I was already abundant, that I was already in the position of having this, which opened me up to more coming in. So, what does your psychology say? What can you do to make yourself feel like you're in the position of you already have that which you are seeking? What can you do to make yourself feel that you're in the position of love so that love has the room and freedom to come to you? What can you let go of to give yourself more room to grow? How can you change your thinking to make detachment more of a reality in your life? How can you become more securely the core of you? So, that should give you a little bit of a brain bender to think on. Thank you for joining me. I'm Marna, and this has been Twin Flame Detox.